Hey everyone, Nubkeks here, and welcome back to some Heroes of the Storm gameplay. Today we are going to be looking at Arthas, and as you know from watching the channel for a while, I love Arthas. I'm a huge Arthas fanboy. I think he's great. Oh, the chat. Just having some fun. But yeah, I think Arthas is fantastic. In this game, I'm essentially running him, I suppose, as the main warrior here. We have Arthas as well. Arthas is more so a bruiser, so I'll be looking to... I guess we're both rather bruisery. It's kind of like it'll be a strange dynamic in the team fights, because Arthas doesn't bring a ton of, crowd control outside of his route, and he can apply like this stacking slow with his E. But apart from that, he doesn't bring a ton. Also, at the start of this game, I will be taking over the solo lane. Probably the best solo lane hero that we have. Pretty safe. As you can see, I haven't inputted any move commands, or just the one, and it's still kind of passing out. I thought that was kind of funny. But yeah, I'll be taking the solo lane. You can see at the start, this is actually quite important. I'm trying to be fairly safe. Alright, there's 4 enemy heroes down bottom. Now it's safe to move out. Don't need to worry too much. So Alarak, how fun. And one thing I noticed in this game is that, Alarak actually turns off my my E ability, my Frozen Tempest, whenever he hits me with his silence. I'll have to pay attention to that. That's going to be kind of difficult. And I was also not sure who would win in a fight between myself and Alarak, at least early on. I feel that later in the lane I should win, but early on I think he probably has the advantage. As you can see, we're trading fairly closely. And yeah, this game should be pretty interesting as well, because I think I'm normally pretty good on the whole strategy stuff. I make a couple of relatively large mistakes in terms of strategy in this game, so you guys can have fun watching that if you want. Though we do kill Alarak one-on-one at the start. That's pretty nice. We tapped the well, he didn't tap the well. Honestly, I think that if he had tapped his well, he would have won that lane, but he held on for a while. But it does look like that Alarak will beat Arthas, which is kind of interesting. Alarak does a lot of damage, so you gotta be careful. And yeah, I had it was something I had to focus on in this game as well, was keeping my E up when I wanted it to be up. There's also a thing with the Void Prison later in the game, I think, where it also changes the E icon, but it doesn't turn it off, so I was getting very confused anyway in this game. We'll see what it means, but you can keep an eye on the E icon anyway as we go through. Obviously you have to sidestep these routes here, or yeah, the stuns from the Immortal, as we're pushing in fairly aggressively. Small team was there, the enemy team was there, we're able to get some pretty good damage down. Get silenced out, turn the E back on. You see, we've learned, and now it's ready to go. Unfortunately, Vala is very low, so having a little bit of a tough time actually. Ooh, Zeratul is chasing her on the left-hand side. Having a bit of a tough time actually committing to this Immortal. As you can see, Li Ming has no mana either, so this is making this rather difficult to say the least. 30 seconds until I can tap a well, so this is pretty much the health and mana I'm stuck with. See, Li Ming literally has nothing. No mana. She can throw out some missiles every few seconds, so that's about it. Anyway, we zone off the Alarak, and we focus this down. Pretty much spending all of my mana to do so. I'm going to Hearthstone immediately so that I have some mana for this next phase. But yeah, that was pretty close, right? That whole Immortal phase was pretty close. We do come out a talent tier up, for at least for a little while anyway, and we got the first Immortal with a large amount of shields. But there was a while there where we were very low on health, some of us. No mana left. It could have been turned around fairly easily. Fairly, Greymane's out of mana too. No one has mana in this game. What do you know? And as you can see, by the way, once again, I am returning to the solo lane. My teammates can push that in as 4. And I can just solo this out. Pretty much no problem. Level 1, I picked up the block talent, which I thought would be pretty useful against hard hitters like Greymane. Unfortunately, my Q, I'd used it on him, so we don't have it to finish off the kill like we did last time. And block also pretty good against Zeratul. Not bad against Alarak, I guess. Yeah, I picked up block. At level 4, I picked up more damage on my E. As you'll notice, the enemy team is predominantly melee heroes. I mean, if Greymane goes into wolf form, they're all melee heroes. They picked that into me on purpose. Well, not on purpose, but they picked it into me. So, yeah, that's their problem, really. I picked up Arthas, like, before the first ban phase, I think. So, yeah. Sucks for them. Anyway, get jumped on by Zeratul here. I'm just going to focus the Greymane and actually pick up the kill on the Greymane. And we're backing off. I think that's quite important, right? Is that it didn't panic. Kind of knew the limits of my hero and that I'd be okay in the end. And we do miss the regen glow, but that's okay. It's going to Hearthstone anyway, because Zeratul could kill me quite easily. But yeah, just kind of I basically, I was caught out, essentially, completely caught out by the Zeratul. Didn't expect him to arrive. He just appeared on top of me in lane and went, uh-oh, being caught out. I'm probably going to die right here. And then, instead of panicking, I know that this is something that happens to a lot of players, especially newer players. Like, by newer players, I even mean people with just a few hundred games played or something like that, as opposed to a couple of thousand or more, or experience in other similar games or MOBAs. Oh, this is also interesting. Before I continue that thought, I was hiding behind the wall. I let the tower die. I was like, I want to stay hidden for a little bit longer. Because there's a couple of places I could be at this point, having Hearthstone back. Could have been going to the Bruisers, could have been going up top. So I just decided to be a little bit stealthy there, at the cost of giving up a tower. I was hoping the tower wouldn't die, but it did. But yeah, I decided I would be a little bit stealthy, just for the sake of creating some fear in the enemy team in terms of their rotations and stuff. What was I saying before that? Oh no, we had a thought and I completely lost it. This is a disaster. All I can think of is, oh, I'm so stuffy with this cold. A nice flip from the Arthas right there. We do finish Greymane off. We missed our W because of the flip, but we finished him off with our Q with our Death Coil right at the end. I'm going pretty aggressive right here. Unfortunately, I got confused and I turned off my Frozen Tempest instead of turning it back on again. So, bit of a mistake. Turning it off at this point to conserve some mana. The Silence does come in. The enemy team has reappeared. Gonna throw it back on. Probably should have turned it on a little bit earlier. Our team had backed off. Vala had run down to tap the well. I hadn't quite respected that, but good work by Arthas picking off a kill. Picking up a kill off the back of that. Li Ming, has she ever had any mana in this game? I don't think so. I think she's been on 0 mana for the entire thing. What can we do to help this poor girl? I don't know if we can do anything. If only we were Malfurion and we could restore mana, that would work. That would help. Sadly, it's not to be the case, though. And here we go. Well done, mortals. Sorry, just not commenting for a second. My video is spazzing out a bit. Been having massive computer issues lately, guys, and I don't know what I can do about it. Like, I turned my computer on today. It had installed some freaking Windows updates, and literally on the Windows update screen, it kept flashing between a black screen and a white screen, just like it would cause epilepsy. After the updates installed, it was still doing that. Restarted the computer once. I think I plugged the computer out for a couple of minutes, turned it back on, it was still doing it, restarted it once, it was still doing it. I was like, oh shit. I literally, like, you literally get to the login screen, I press enter, you know, to enter my password and stuff, and it would just start flashing like crazy and then bring me back. I couldn't even turn it off, I had to unplug it to turn it off. But yeah, it started working again eventually, just out of luck, I guess. I have no idea what the problem is. I've been having a load of issues with drivers and everything like that. It's just been a nightmare these last few days. So yeah, and just like running badly and stuff. I have no idea what is going on, but it's like, Windows, please stop doing updates, please, or please ask me. Like, I've told you to ask me, but you just do them anyway. So yeah, I don't know. Hopefully my commentary does not go too far out of sync with this video. But yeah, it's been pretty bad. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to save up like some serious cash to buy a replacement computer. And I have no idea what happens if this one stops working. We'll be down to like super low graphics. And I'll just like pop over to my friend's house every few days to record a bunch of videos. I like literally don't know what to do, but oh well. We are pushing in here. Once again, I'm doing like a split pushy thing, maximizing our XP. You can see we're level 12 to level 9, so this XP thing is really working out in our favor. Actually get the tower down on that top. So we get a really nice double push. Kind of the story of this game. See, I was looking to maybe flank in. Sonya, though, does intercept. Hit her with a root, and we're able to back off, though, so it's fine. But yeah, I was looking to do maybe an aggressive rotation in there to stick with my teammates. I would assume, actually, at this stage, yes, sorry, Li Ming has no mana. Vala had no mana either, but she tapped the well, so she's got something. But yeah, it probably would have actually been a bad idea, considering the state of the mana on our teammates. But yeah, I mean, my body's malfunctioning with this cold, my computer's malfunctioning. Maybe I gave the computer the cold, I don't even know. Who knows? But it's looking pretty good for us at this stage. But the enemy team has hit level 10, and this is where I think some mistakes start coming in for me. I don't pay enough attention to the enemy hitting level 10. You see what I'm talking about. But yeah, I definitely do not respect the level 10s enough. I do check them, which is good. but I don't fully pay attention to them. Most importantly, I don't pay attention to the Kharazim 7-sided strike, which obviously is going to wreck Arthas, this big, beefy, but very immobile warrior who can literally do nothing once the 7-sided strike starts hitting him, at least until level 20. But yeah, it's going to be pretty rough. But you can see I'm looking for all these sort of aggressive engagements and stuff. We see, this is really interesting, actually, this strategic move. I think this is quite good, actually. It's the enemy team. You see, we see them, they're down there. All of them are down there at the bottom, I think, or nearly all of them. So our team rotated up towards top. They sent their whole team to bottom, and they're pressuring the fort. So instead of panicking and then just running the whole way across the map, and then arriving to a half-dead fort and being kind of stuck out of position, I go deep in the enemy lane and pick it off. Now, this was a huge mistake for me. Too late popping my heroic and get picked off, unfortunately. Now, I think it was a good move by the Zeratul as well for the enemy team. He went in and VP'd my team up just to the north of me as I was kind of running into them there. So that well played by them, but yeah, definitely I did not respect the VP or the threat of the 7-sided strike. I think I paid attention to all the other heroics except for that one, honestly. I think I just assumed it was Divine Pam, but that's a big mistake. Get caught out, pretty much lose all of my HP. Oriel really cannot do anything to keep me alive through that. She tried her best, but there's really nothing much she could do. Arthas could have thrown out the his pulse thingy. I believe he was caught in the VP. Well, I mean, as soon as he came out of it, he could have thrown out his suppression pulse. But yeah, as you see, big turnaround right there. We lose a lot of heroes for that, and the enemy team is winning this immortal. But yeah, it was mostly a mistake for me getting caught out. Bit slow popping my heroic and everything like that as I was eating the 7-sided strike. Should have popped it a bit earlier to get a bit more health back. Then we could have had the Arthas suppression pulse as well, and maybe could have survived, but it was a weak rotation for me, not respecting the power of the enemy team's heroics and how much damage they could do to me, and how much they could disrupt our team, because they have some really fight changing heroics right here that can really spin things around. And one of the interesting things about Arthas is he gets really, really destroyed by burst damage like that. Stuff like vulnerabilities especially wreck your face. It's awful. You get destroyed by vulnerabilities. 7-sided strike really hurts you as well. He's a very tanky hero, but you know, that sort of burst damage and anything like that really does hurt him. Unfortunately, we were in a rough spot. Should have run into the VP, so another mistake. Very large mistake, I would say, for me. 2 in a row. Very unfortunate. Both cases, the 7-sided strike really was the thing that kind of caught me out. But yeah, our team gets VP'd. We did have a very good position, but then with the 7-sided strike hitting me, I'm alone outside the VP. Arthas got knocked into it. There's no one to soak it up with me, so all of that 7-sided strike damage goes on to me as Arthas, and then it's very easy to blow us up. But I mean, Arthas can be extremely tanky when he doesn't get caught in a sort of situation like that. You know, we take away the 7-sided strike and we should be massively tanky against this enemy team. Li Ming is pinging for help like crazy. I mean, neither Vala nor Oriel would have realized that that was a situation where they wanted to help without Li Ming pinging help. So she's pinging help some more. Who knows what she wants? As you can see, she is silenced. But you see, I'm actually genuinely checking out the talents right now. I've been like, okay, made 2 large mistakes. Let's slow it down. Let's take a bit of a breather. Let's take a look at the enemy talents. Let's pay attention to them. Make sure we're on top of all these talent choices that they have. Do I understand what they all are? Do I know what they all are? Okay, now I've got a bit of a hold on it. Let's turn around and let's make stuff happen. You can see, really smart choice. Kharazim is actually really good against Arthas. This was something I learned in this game, right? So the 7-sided strike wrecks Arthas' face. It's super painful. And then he can get this level 13 talent that makes him take half damage from basic attacks for 4 seconds whenever he gets rooted. And Arthas does roots. That's what Arthas does. So really effective against Arthas in a number of ways. Nice VP. 7-sided strike this time, eating our Arthas alive. I popped my heroic, trying to focus what damage I can in on the enemy team. We do pick one off, very nice, and Vala actually picked off a second kill to the north. So well played team, that actually worked out really well. A level 13 and 16, by the way, I have built into my Frozen Tempest talents, just to improve those even more. And I did pick up Rune Tap at level 7 as well, so every 3 attacks, you can see the little marker actually, it's new. Down the bottom left, the marker for the Rune Taps. Every 3 basic attacks, Li Ming dies on her own somewhere, who knows. I suspect, because she ran out of mana. But yeah, a rune tap marker. Every 3 basic attacks we restore some health. Pretty good against the immortals, and just a bit of extra sustain. Well, he's got a number of strong level 7 talents. Once again, I'm pushing this lane in. Our allies are looking to steal this. This is a really dodgy idea. You see, I'm pinging for retreat, but the option to retreat is kind of gone. Vala stands in the counter strike of our Alarak and gets exploded. Li Ming is pinging for help once more. Poor Li Ming. Really doesn't like our Oriole for some reason. Anyway, I hit these guys on a route. At this stage, though, I'm pretty much dead. Yeah, so I'm just going to turn around and die with dignity. Just do what damage I can as I die. But yeah, that was... it was just a really bad call. At this point, I was like, yep. You can tell. I don't know. It's just this thing, right? You can always tell, or nearly always tell, who the silence player is. I remember at one stage there were people telling me, it's like, I've never seen a silence player spam pings. What are you talking about? I was like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding? I'm like, I don't know if I've ever seen a silence player who doesn't spam pings all the time. But anyway, this Li Ming, she's being annoying. It's literally, I don't think she's pinged one actual helpful thing the entire game, so screw that, just gonna silence her. You're just better off not having these constant pings, because it's an annoying sound. It's meant to be an annoying sound that you notice. If it's not actually saying anything good, just remove it. Yeah, it was a very bad call to take that bruiser camp aggressively. I obviously tried to help my teammates out as much as I could by pushing in that top lane so we would get that vision. We saw there's a lot of enemies nearby. You're just asking for trouble, honestly, staying in there and trying to get the pick on that merc camp. So we really got wrecked because of that. Arthas does the intelligent thing and steps into the Void Prison during the whole during the 7-side strike, so we don't take too much damage from it this time. We're turning this fight around, doing a lot of damage. Pretty good. Lucky to catch this Alarak in a rotation, but unfortunately he does juke it pretty smartly. He knows what I'm trying to do. He knew if he got hit by that route he would be dead. So turn around and burst down this immortal. This is kind of funny, actually. Immortal MVP, right? The knockback from the stun actually puts us in position to kill the Alarak. Now the counter strike once again doing quite a chunk of damage, but Oriole is there at the heal afterwards to make up for it. Li Ming, no mana. Is she gonna Hearthstone? I hope so. Nope. 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 No, she is. Okay, good. It wasn't clear on the mini map. That's funny. Okay, she's Hearthstoning. It's all good. It's all good. I was gonna just slag the silence player off so much, but some more. But no, she did the right thing. So a bit awkward actually on the immortals with the Hearthstones and everything like that. We are going to be pretty late to this, but we should still be able to push this pretty aggressively, honestly. Zeratul looking to come out and stop us. I was hoping he might run backwards. Instead he ran towards us and then blinked away. If he'd run backwards, I think he would have been caught by that. We do pick up the keep at this stage, but there's nothing much left for us here. We don't really have the position to push on core. Equal levels, equal talents. The enemy team is all alive. There's really no ability for us to push on the core. I am looking for a sort of aggressive pick right here, though. There we go. We land the route in on the enemy team. We get the Alarak, but he is able to counter-strike and heal up a lot of that, unfortunately. Get the route on the Kerosene, but he does get out. 7-side strike doing a lot of damage. Li Ming, she's got full mana this time, but she was caught in the VP, so she can spend it. It's a disaster. She just get in, though, and she's getting the resets now. Zeratul on the back, hunting out the Vala. Li Ming does eventually pick up the kill, but I think she's going to go down at this point. No, she might be able to run away. Zeratul might be hunting her down. Oh, we'll see. I'm not sure how this is going to go down. I don't remember. We've got large pushes on both sides. The bottom keep is down as well. And Zeratul has to go clear that out. So everything is fine. But yeah, if you take a bit of a look at the stats, you can see there Alarak is playing a really great game. He's done 71k hero damage. He's done an awful lot. The enemy team, the rest of them are nowhere near that, really. So I was kind of checking that because I felt that Zeratul was doing a lot of damage. Turns out he's actually not doing a lot of damage, but he's applying his damage well to our backline. Like, he's pressuring the Vala a lot, which is pretty much exactly what he needs to do, pressure the Vala or the Oriole, and he's doing a really good job of that. He's void prisoning well. He is a Grandmaster, I think, so you can see that, I think, in his play. Although he's not able to do a ton of damage, he's definitely it's being quite effective damage. So I was just kind of interested in looking at that and kind of going, oh no, it's actually Alarak that's doing most of it. This is quite interesting, by the way. You've often seen me say this is a terrible idea, taking the Bruiser camp. So you're probably asking, Nubkeks, why are you taking the Bruiser camp as the Immortal has spawned? I mean, you often say it's not worth taking even as they're spawning. Why are you starting it when they have spawned? And the answer is level 20. The enemy team had hit level 20. We were very close to it. We couldn't quite get it. The minion waves are too far away for us to actually go to. So instead of doing that, go for the Bruiser camp. Finish the Bruiser camp. That gets us the XP, that gets us level 20, and that lets us be able to come in here and fight this. You see, by the way, I picked up anti-magic shell, and this is a big deal. This is a big deal. Really nice heal coming out from that anti-magic shell. In case you don't know what it does, it's a level 20 ability. You activate it. I think it's for 3 seconds, maybe 4 seconds. It makes you immune to ability damage, or you take 0 damage from it, and then 25% of the damage you would have taken gets healed back. So we got hit because we were stunned for we got hit for a lot of the 7-sided strike, but after that we activated the anti-magic shell. We survived the last few hits. The Alarak damage, we walked into it actually, kind of on purpose, and that actually we didn't take any damage from that again, and we healed up a big chunk of health purely from that anti-magic shell. So that's why I was going so aggressive with my positioning in that fight. You can see I was basically looking for the same sort of fights that I was looking for earlier in the game, the sort of fights that were really catching me out. But because I've got the anti-magic shell now, that sort of aggressive positioning is now good once again, because I have this tool to survive that burst damage that they can throw at me. So I'm no longer in danger effectively. So yeah, I think, that talent choice basically won that fight for us, honestly. If I didn't have that, I would have died, and then I would have been gone. Yeah, I think it would have gone much, much worse. So yeah, there's a pretty key talent choice, honestly, the anti-magic shell. And you can see that I've been planning for it for a long time, basically from the point where I was looking at those talents. I was kind of thinking, how do I survive this? Okay, I will, I'll have to do all of that. You see anti-magic shell once again coming out. Thanks, Alarak. Alarak does no damage to us. We absorb his counter strike, we absorb his Q, his Discord strike, no problem whatsoever. And here we are in here. Now, we've got multiple teammates here, so again, we're all sharing the 7-side strike. Doesn't do much damage when we're all sharing it, and we are on the core, and that is going to be game. Which you see in the chat as well. I was kind of saying, guys, let's just peel the Immortal. The Immortal can win the game for us. But then we pick up a couple of kills, so I'm kind of saying, like, okay, or we could do that. Kill 2 of them for free. That's a pretty reasonable option as well. So there you go. Our Arthas got MVP. He did a good job, I think. A pretty good job overall. And I don't think we didn't make the MVP screen. It's very sad. We died a bunch. But I gave the vote to their Alarak here. I thought their Alarak played very well. And I mean, Karasim, he did heal 28% of the team's damage. I think that's pretty good, especially considering he had that instead of Divine Palm, the 7-side strike. I think it's pretty good. I'm not sure, actually, on those stats. There you go. Let's take a little look at the stats. Let's show you the talents as well. And then I'm going to blow my nose and, I don't know, have a cup of tea or something. Cheer me up. I'm all stuffed up. But if you look at our damage stats, huge damage stats from the Arthas. Top of siege damage. There's the talents. Block, Biting Cold, Rune Tap, Army of the Dead, Frigid Winds, Remorseless Winter, and then Anti-Magic Shell. So you can see building, this is it's relatively standard for me on Arthas. I love building into his E, his Frozen Tempest stuff. And I mean, they had basically a full melee team, so those talents are all getting massive value. And you can see that in the stats, the amount of damage that we did. We did a ton of damage. I think like our damage dealers, our 2 damage dealers, they're okay. They're decent. I think Vala probably had a very hard time because their tool can really punish a Vala. It's hard to say for sure, but I mean, we did an awful lot, and it was very nicely stacked for Arthas in this game because they were all melee. But it should still give you, I think this game should give you a very, very good insight into Arthas, insight into how he solo lanes, an insight into some of his strengths, and also into his weaknesses as well. I think they were illustrated very much. In this case, it was the 7-sided strike. You'll experience a similar thing with vulnerabilities and stuff like that. For example, I remember we had a game last season it was actually against Guardsman Bob, and I was on Arthas, I think, for that one, which is pretty cool. It was a lot of fun to play against, a streamer that I'd been watching years prior, but I think in that game, I think he was a Brightwing, and I think he picked up like a vulnerability, or maybe just it was some sort of bonus to his polymorph, I'm pretty sure, but I just got caught out by that a couple of times and just blown up. And that's the thing with Arthas, is you've got no mobility. Your tankiness comes from the fact that, well, your rune tap is giving you this sort of sustained healing. Your Army of the Dead heroic gives you this sort of very much high sustained healing as well. And then you've got like just the threat of your root and the threat of that constant AoE slowing damage around you. That makes you tanky. But if you get in a position where you do get caught out of position, where you get bursted down, where you get marked by vulnerability or silenced, or you've got some powerful ability against you, or the enemy team just focuses well, they've got good anti-tank damage, you will get just melted and destroyed. And suddenly that tankiness, which comes from this like just powerful, bulky, just brutal, sustaining type hero, getting into the enemy's face and beating them down, once they hit like the critical mass, I would say, of being able to burst you down, your tankiness just kind of evaporates, because they can just walk all over you and destroy you. That's the thing with Arthas. Yeah, he is though. He's a very good hero for Hero League. A very, very good hero for Hero League. I hope I sort of showed that in this game as well. And yeah, very good against melee heroes and melee assassins, melee basic attacky type dudes. And yeah, in this case, I was pretty much the main tank. You can also run him as like the bruiser. As you saw, he does a ton of damage. It's fantastic. So if the enemy team is built into like a sort of melee heavy team, you can definitely, you know, and you've got like a, I don't know, you've got like a Muradin or a Johanna or something, you can definitely add an Arthas on top of that for just that extra tankiness, just this really great front line to protect your heroes at the back, really shut down any basic attack melee heroes with, you know, the slows, the attack speed slows, the roots, and then the damage you output. And he can be, he's great. I love Arthas. I'm such a fanboy of Arthas, and I think he's really underrated, but he's great. I love him to bits. Anyway, give it a like, guys, if you liked the video, and I will see you all next time for more Heroes of the Storm. Bye bye.